Welcome to Red, White and Radical, a podcast that explores how American conservatism has changed the world. My name's Warwick Harnese, and I'm fascinated by American conservatism and the national culture that spawned it. I believe that American conservatives, over the course of a few decades, have effected the greatest example of cultural change in the Western world. What do I mean by this? Well, in the mid-20th century, very few Americans admitted to being conservative because it was too closely associated with Europe and fascism. America in the mid-20th century was a shining example of liberal thought.
I'm proud to say that I'm a liberal.
At least, so it seemed. Fast forward 70 years. Today, more Americans identify as conservative than either liberal or moderate in their political outlook. Not only that, liberals have become more conservative. Barack Obama's re-election campaign in 2012 was similar in tone and spirit to Ronald Reagan's in 1984.
Ronald Reagan passed immigration reform, and you love Ronald Reagan, let's go ahead and do it. I mean, what changed?
Yet in 2012, Obama was accused of socialism and being un-American by hardcore conservatives in the Tea Party movement.
Obama is a socialist.
Reagan is the godfather of American conservatism. But even his legacy is no longer considered conservative enough by many Americans. How and why has America become so conservative? And what can the answers to that question tell us about the confusing world we live in right now? That's the subject of this podcast. I've called it Red, White and Radical to draw attention to a strange conundrum. Conservatism is usually about preserving the status quo, but in the US, it's about change. Sometimes it's about changing things back to the way they were, but it's also about seizing the future with technology and military action. As we'll discover, conservatism in America is hardly a coherent ideology. There are libertarians, religious conservatives, and neocons, all with different values and goals, sometimes cooperating with one another, sometimes openly contradicting one another. In the podcast, I'll be looking at things like, what can the creation of the Marlboro cigarette brand tell us about the current crackdown on vaping? How did the growth of the suburbs in the 1970s lead to our current obsession with true crime? And what is it about conservatism in America that gave the world President Trump?
Nobody can do it like me.